batteries. Power, Igor! We need more power!
Yes, Master.
It's a rig! It's a camera rig!
Warning, the savage filmmaker is a beast. His camera rigs are to be used at your own personal risk, and he takes no responsibility for your camera exploding into a million pieces by attempting any of his 6K Pro builds. Welcome to part 3 of my series creating a DIY 6K Pro camera rig. We're going to add some rails, a matte box, follow focus, and a better way to mount a battery solution. After what seems like an eternity, Smallrig have debuted the first Pocket 6K Pro camera cage. And at the time of this video's release, depending on where you live, you might be getting one in the mail sometime soon. The cage looks good. In fact, it kind of looks like they've copied Tilter's aesthetic from previous Tilter pocket cages. And I'm okay with that because I found that Tilter's version to be the best. However, while I think this new Smallrig setup is good, I'm not sure it's actually better than my DIY build. So for now, rather than buy a Smallrig cage, let's talk about why you might choose to use my approach instead of buying the Smallrig cage. You'll find all the links to the products I talk about in the description. For starters, if you're unfortunate enough to have bought the 6K Pro's battery grip extension, then this Smallrig cage is not going to work for you. But with some tweaking, my DIY rig will fit by simply adjusting the height of the top and bottom piece and changing the alignment of the screws slightly. So if you want something that'll hold everything together with your battery grip attached, all in one, this will absolutely do the trick. However, it does push the bottom plate so far away from where the lenses are placed, you'll struggle to get a follow focus or matte box to fit this setup if you are wanting to use rails. Personally, I would still suggest ditching the battery pack and choosing a V-mount to provide power to the pocket. But this does provide a more secure way to attach more than just the battery extension for run and gun work. The other benefit my DIY rigs have is the additional wooden handle grip. You can buy an extension handle grip for the new Smallrig Pocket 6K cage, but it's going to cost you a lot more than my version, which conveniently stays permanently attached to the side rail mount without taking up any significant extra room. Prior to this build, I never had a side handle for any of my cameras, but the way that the Pocket 6K's camera body is designed, an extra grip makes the rig super stable when going handheld. And holding it with both hands using this grip tucked against my body for a third point of contact has become my new go-to position when filming handheld. Now, if you want to take this rig a little further, let's look at some additional pieces. Firstly, as you can see, I moved my SSD holder from the top handle itself back to the top plate of the camera. I found it to be more out of the way here, and I was less paranoid about accidentally knocking out a cable while filming. While I did like the small, compact footprint of the last version of my rig, I found that keeping the V-mount battery underneath the camera was not the most stable option when mounting the camera to a tripod. It also felt like it was just becoming a little too tall. So what we want to do is take the dive and become a true big boy camera rig by adding rails. This is the only slightly tricky part of the build. I purchased the Smallrig base plate with dual 15mm rod clamp model 1775, or you can use model 1798. link in the description. To attach this, I removed the bottom plate that was connected to my camera and attached this base plate to that bottom plate. Once this is done, the difficult part is reattaching both to the bottom of the camera. To do so, you need to reach through the larger circular section of the base plate with a relatively skinny screwdriver and reattach the screw. It will take a little bit of finessing to get it back into place, but once it's done, you can leave it permanently attached, so it's only a mild inconvenience. Underneath the new rail base plate, you'll want to attach a long Manfrotto tripod plate. A short tripod plate won't completely fit across the base plate, but a long one with two 1/4 inch screws will fit neatly on the bottom of the new Smallrig base plate. This does two things. First, you can easily slide your camera rig onto your tripod at any time securely and quickly, and you can leave it attached forever, so it's going to save you a lot of time going from handheld to tripod and back again. Secondly, the long base plate will help to balance your camera body and prevent it toppling forward when attaching a longer lens. Now we've got our base plate and tripod solution sorted, we want to insert rails. The Smallrig carbon fiber rails are great. They're light, cheap and strong. If you use the Sigma 18-35 lens, I would go for longer rails. Otherwise you won't be able to get all your peripherals on all at once. So go for the version that is 30 centimeters or 12 inches, or perhaps even a touch longer. If you find them slightly too long, you can always make them shorter by shaving off one of their ends. But if you go too short, you've just wasted your money. I found that the 30 centimeter rails were just long enough, but I would have actually liked an extra couple of inches. Now, we have our new base plate and rails. It's time to add a follow focus and matte box. Firstly, for my follow focus, I use the Fugue DP3000M2. It's by no means the best follow focus, but it does the job and works just fine for most situations. It's affordable, and it hits about the right mark in terms of price to performance ratio. Now let's talk about my matte box. I use the wooden camera 4x5 Zipbox Pro with a swing away bracket. So what's good about this matte box? It's extremely light. The swing away mount means you can quickly and easily swap lenses. But, and this is a big but, there are much cheaper matte box alternatives from Smallrig and Tilta. What I don't like about those options is that they are fixed to the front of the lens. I like to mix up my lens selection on shoots, which means if I use this type of matte box, I'd constantly have to screw on and off the matte box when changing lenses. And I'm all about speed and efficiency. However, the wooden camera matte box, for what it is ridiculously overpriced, which is a problem with many items from wooden camera. For a company branding itself with wood, their constant overpricing leaves me permanently flaccid. So, unless you have deep pockets, I don't recommend the Zipbox Pro. And to be quite honest, unless you shoot in bright direct sunlight, with the built-in ND filters of the 6K Pro, having a matte box is, in my opinion, completely unnecessary. You might be able to save your money altogether. In many situations, the matte box is going to be more for show than it is for practical use. That may sound silly, but at the end of the day, you want your client to perceive you as a professional with a professional camera and kit. That's why they're paying you a professional rate for your service. Most clients won't understand anything about the brand of camera you're using, but when they see that matte box on the end of your camera, they'll believe you're a legit bowler. I don't agree with this perception, but it is what it is. Now we have the front end of the camera sorted. Let's talk about the back end. This is where we're going to attach our V-mount. We need two pieces for this, a cheese plate and a V-lock plate. I use the Camvati battery cheese plate with 360 swivel rod clamp. The key to this is the swivel clamp on the bottom, which attaches to your 15mm rails, because it allows you to tilt your V-mount to any position you want, keeping it out of the way so you can still make use of the excellent inbuilt monitor. A lot of these cheese plate solutions are connected via screwed on rail attachments, which do not move from their vertical position, leading to a lot of people not being able to reach or use their built-in monitor easily. To this cheese plate, we're going to attach a Smallrig V-lock plate. And now we have a place to put the V-mount battery, which we will simply and easily slide onto the rails behind the camera. Smallrig do provide a more elegant solution that combines these two plates, but at the time of recording it's not available until June 2021. So for me, it's not worth the wait. From our previous rig build, we have the top handle solution. Now, looking at this rig once it's completed, it has gotten pretty big, but it's actually surprisingly light. And more importantly, it's really resolved the balance issue that the pocket suffered from when completely stripped down. The weight is much more evenly distributed, and it'll get rid of all those micro jitters, which is a big problem when filming in that basic configuration without a stabilized lens. Having done several shoots like this, it's now my permanent setup, which still has room to be built out for a shoulder rig in the future. So there you have it, the new and improved Franken-rig. I hope you found this helpful. If so, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support this channel, please check out the links in the description to watch my new feature film Older, available free on Amazon Prime and Tubi. If you enjoy it, maybe consider giving it a review. As always, I am the Savage Filmmaker, and I'll catch you on the next one.